Safety bit. Do not please come past this wire, because if you do, I can almost guarantee that you will be either shot or bayoneted or both. And it won't be our fault because I told you not to do it. Right, lads? I've got my eye on you. You look like trouble. Is it trouble? No, he's fine. Good.
I heard he didn't pick on you two.
Right, look at me.
He'd have been right.
This one.
Stand guard.
Do you want to hold hands?
Best seats in the house are around this side, ladies and gentlemen. Really, long ears best.
Stand behind us.
He's in charge. Stay with us. No baby to get shot.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're a couple of minutes late, so let's get this show on the road. Now, if you are from Britain or the Dominions and you've been here for a longish time, you are the descendants of soldiers that fought in the Great War, the vast majority of whom would have served on the Western Front. And we're going to give you a little flavour of soldiers from appropriately in the grounds of the Essex Regiment, the soldiers that served in the Essex Regiment. If you get bored and you want to walk away, please do, because it will go on a bit. But otherwise, hang around and you may learn a little bit about the feats of your forebears when they fought the most professional army in the Great War, of course, the German army. So, let's call the squad on and have a look at them. Righto, Sergeant, when you're ready, let's have you.
Oh, look, here comes one on the bicycle. It's coming in.
Now, the first soldier you may find interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Most of you are thinking of the blood-soaked trenches of the First World War. Here we have a cyclist, a military cyclist. A great number of regiments were given over to cycle infantry. This is because, unlike the cavalry, who have to get up early in the morning, brush a horse, feed it, water it, put a blanket on it, put a saddle on it, the cycle infantry just get up in the morning, get on their bike and they move. And they move silently and they move as far as cavalry. They don't need any forage. At the start of the war there are about 10 regiments of them. By the end there are several 100,000 of them waiting for the breakthrough that will take troops through gaps exploited in the German line. And here comes a squad of marching infantrymen now. Right, first thing I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is give you a close-up view of an infantryman. Some of you will get a good-looking one, but not many. To the ropes. Disperse. Look lively, lads, look lively. Come. Spread equally down. Watch your dressing. Stand at ease. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so you've got a soldier a bit closer to you now. Let's have a look at their kit and equipment in some small detail. First of all, you'll notice that the uniform is of khaki. Khaki is an Indian word, it means the colour of dust. And basically that means you blend into the environment in which you find yourself. If you're in the desert or somewhere like Egypt or India, the uniform will be a mustard khaki. But on the Western Front, temperate climate, it's this green khaki shade. There are 38 different shades of it, so no two are alike. It's thick, densely woven woolen fibre, so it keeps you warm even when it's wet, which is just as well, because the only thing the soldier has to protect him from the elements is a ground sheet, which he wears like a cape. So very often, serving in France, soldiers will be soaking wet, but this uniform will keep them warm. On their boots, on their feet, they have ammunition boots, stout leather with the soles covered in metal hobnails to save the leather from wear. Round the lower leg, another Indian word influenced by Indian service, the putty, the bandage that will keep mud, water, stones and creepy crawlies out of your boots whilst on the march. There's nothing like getting a stone in your boot and having to stop and unwind everything and take it out. We all know that. This is what they're for. But then we come to the soldiers' personal equipment. And looking up and down the line, you'll see different variations of it. The cyclist soldier here is in its pre-war configuration. This is from the 8th Essex Cyclist Regiment. They never actually saw service overseas. So they have old-fashioned, obsolete 1903 pattern leather equipment, keeps his ammunition in here, everything's hung on in separate bits. A very old-fashioned and poor equipment. These soldiers are wearing the webbing equipment. Now, anyone that served in the army here would have referred to their equipment as webbing, whether it was made of this stuff, which is densely woven cotton fibre, or even today it might be nylon or something like that. The word is just caught on. But this is the first webbing equipment that the British Army has. It's absolutely beautiful. It can be nicely cleaned and polished like my set, all gleaming in the sun for parades, but on active service it'll be left. You've polished that, haven't you?
Yes, I do.
Who hasn't polished their eye? You. He's not polished it, he never polishes anything, this one. He's left his to dull down so it doesn't catch your eye in the field. The orders are, on the issue of field webbing, you let all the brasses dull down, goes brown, doesn't attract the eye in the sun. But a very, very fine set of equipment here. Rifle ammunition in the pouches on the front, 150 rounds can be carried. On the man's back, turn round everywhere. He has his small pack. If he's going on trench duty for 4 or 5 days, he'll pack that with the necessaries. A couple of tins of bully beef, a little soldier's Tommy cooker to heat tea, bit of sugar, a few canned lens, a few bars of chocolate in there. He has his water bottle here, about 2 litres of water in its felt cover. If you soak the felt cover when you fill it up, keeps the water cool. On the other side, where's your entrenching tool? He hasn't got his entrenching tool, but this man has. In here he has the head of an entrenching tool. I'm just going to get it out and show you this because this is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is the bit where the ladies start walking away in sheer boredom, by the way. Just got you as you're about to go, didn't I, madam? Here we are, this here. This is his entrenching tool, and the handle of it's held on the other side, down his leg near his bayonet. Now this is a marvellous piece of equipment. At the start of the war, when people are moving in the open, if you're suddenly caught in the open and can't come under rifle or shell fire, you can use this with its handle to dig yourself a shallow depression just to get your chest and vitals underground and then fire back. In trench warfare, it's marvellous for digging sandbag emplacements, patting them down to build them like bricks. You can also use it you can use the handle to wind in the wire pickets silently in no man's land at night when you're replacing the screw-in supports for the barbed wire that's in front of every position. If you're caught short far from the latrine in the front line at night, you can do your spendings on there, and if the jerry trenches are that near, you might just catch them with it. You can also fry an egg on it, preferably before you use it for the previous purpose. But a very useful piece of equipment, and we'll go into the Second World War still carrying it as well. So we'll just leave that here, we can collect it after. The whole set of equipment can be taken off in one piece. It's like a waistcoat. You do your 50 minutes on the march. When you stop, 10 minutes rest. Drop the equipment off in one piece and raise your feet on the pack to let the blood run out of your feet. A marvellous set of equipment. Unfortunately, when the war starts in 1914, our army's about 500,000 strong and half of them across the empire. So thousands of men, your descendants, volunteer to join the army, and we have to equip them. The factories can't keep up with this stuff. It's in huge demand. So we go to the emergency leather equipment, and you see my sergeant here and another man on the end of the line have got the emergency leather pattern equipment. It mimics the webbing, but it's made of leather. It can be made in saddlers' shops cheaply, but it's terrible. You have to oil it with sardine oil to keep it supple. If it gets wet, it rots, just like the German equipment. It loosens up. Generally a poor, very poor substitute for the excellence of this webbing. Face your front again, lads. finally, before we go further on in our display, the last important piece of soldier's kit is the helmet. Now you'll notice that I'm wearing the rather smart soft cap. In 1914 we go and fight the war wearing this smart cap. When men go into trenches, most of the injuries in a trench are where? You don't know, it's the head, because you're looking out, only the head can be seen, and air-bursting shrapnel falling down is causing a massive amount of head injuries. So just before the big push, the 1916 Battle of the Somme, we go over to the hard hat. Tin helmets pushed out of one piece of steel, covered in this case with hessian to camouflage it and stop it reflecting and giving away your position. So by 1916, every soldier is issued with his own tin helmet, the famous battle bowler. The design of it won't change, it'll see us through 2 world wars. Not as fancy as the German one, but very, very good at reflecting falling shrapnel balls from overhead and reflecting them off the man, keeping him safe. Now, in fact, one amusing thing is, in 1914, when the German soldiers first saw British troops, they laughed and said, "My God, these Tommies, they look like golfers, don't they?" They laughed at the appearance of the British Tommy and his uniform, which is influenced by sporting at home. They weren't laughing when we show you the next item on our agenda. Gentlemen, form firing line.
No, they're not shooting yet.
Come on. And of course, the thing that stops them laughing right in their tracks is the famous short magazine Lee Enfield rifle. Now, this is a 303 caliber bolt action rifle, 10 rounds in the magazine, capable of extreme rapid fire. Now, you see the men have taken up position here in the 4 positions that are taught to British soldiers. Number 1 is the prone position. If you're shooting a rifle, it's best to do it prone because you're fully supported. Second best is seated like this, where again the bones of the body support the rifle, keeping it steady. Gentlemen, your point of aim will be that right. Next is kneeling, another well-supported position, and the one you almost never do, even though airfix soldiers would have you believe they did, is the standing firing like this, because it's very difficult to support the weight of the barrel when you're standing up. So let's see how these rifles can fire. There will now be some very loud bangs. If you don't like loud bangs, nip into the disabled toilet, cover your ears and you'll be fine. Over to you, Sergeant.
That's German infantry, 200 yards. Correct, firing. Ceasefire!
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We see some of the effects it could have not only on us but on the Germans as well. The rapid fire of these Lee Enfields and the skill of the marksmen using them simply shot the Germans down. The Germans attacked in dense formations at Mons, rifles held at their hip, firing from the hip. You hit nothing firing from the hip, but their formations melted away under the fire of the Lee Enfield 303. The Germans thought that we had 8 machine guns in every battalion. We actually had 2. Rifle shooting's all very well. Very good marksmanship amongst the pre-war regulars in the army produces very fine results. But in the infantryman's war, when you take ground or you're about to have ground taken from you, it results in personal face-to-face contact very often with the enemy. What do we do when it comes to that situation? That, of course, is the time for cold steel. Form for bayonet.